So my work with a mentor, my work with Dennis has been having a really critical thought partner and somebody who can challenge me in ways to make sure I'm not getting stuck on my own thoughts. There's somebody there who's always not only holding me accountable, but pushing me beyond my comfort zone. And I think that's really important because this work can sometimes be isolating, and it's really easy to get not only caught in your thoughts, but think that you're the final word. And effective leadership is really respecting everyone else's thoughts around you and bringing it to consensus to move forward. And I think the work of a mentor is somebody that just holds you accountable in ways that those that are working for you, for lack of a better term, I don't think anybody works for me, but for lack of a better term, those that work for me don't always feel comfortable with challenging, especially early in your leadership. I think there's a level of trust that has to be established and comfort for people to realize that when she says hold me accountable, she really means hold me accountable. And there's never been retaliation, there's no retribution, she doesn't look at me differently, when I challenge her thoughts. So in the absence or in the time that you're building that relationship and trust with your staff, that mentor is somebody who's going to be there and say the things that other people outside the door might want to be saying.
I'm Omotayo Cole-Sinius, and I'm the proud principal of Catherine and Count Basie Middle School 72 here in Jamaica, Queens. Finding the support from Dennis McKeezy around his input has allowed me to move from questioning my level of knowledge in terms of leadership to being confident and moving forward as a leader here at Catherine and Count Basie. I look forward to ongoing conversations with Mr. McKeezy. We're able to impact our school community and the staff and the surrounding community by the choices that we're making within the school building. We both are very aware that what we create here at Catherine and Count Basie will develop what happens outside of these four walls for years to come.
I met Dennis when I was still an assistant principal, and through my journey and my growth, Dennis has definitely been an asset to that, from being an assistant principal and really and truly just understanding the role of working with teachers and supporting teachers, but also the students and the families involved, and just what it meant to be an effective leader. Through my journey of being a SPED administrator, he was a part of that, being a TDEC, and most definitely now a principal. Just having a thought partner is definitely something that is beneficial and needed, not only for myself, but I feel for all principals. You make it to this level and the learning doesn't stop. It's actually a new wave of learning by the time you get to sit in the seat and be a principal. So it's crucial that you have someone who can walk this journey with you.
So PS 328 is a very unique school. We have about 40% of our students who are in temporary housing. As such, we not only care for them in terms of instructionally, but we also have to care for them holistically. Mr. McKeezy, Dennis, he understands that. So one of the things that I've noticed is that he makes himself visible, not just to the teachers, but to the students. They look forward to him coming. Like they talk to him, Mr. McKeezy, how are you? So I think he's a consultant who doesn't just come in, take a paycheck and walk away. He actually gets to know the people in the community. He goes into the classroom, he talks to the teachers. And I think because of that, you're able to see his impact, and you're able to see how he understands that we're in a unique school and he caters to us and what we need.
Mr. Dennis McKeezy has been a valuable asset to the PS224 school community. He is well-versed and knowledgeable in leadership development. He has supported my leadership growth in monitoring and revising school-wide systems, curriculum maps, school culture, and more importantly, revising data to impact our standard-based maps.
Can you give us an example of a measurable impact that Dennis's work or In Our Best Interest has had on your partnership?
I think one of the measurable impacts I would point to would be teacher retention. And I point to this because specifically when you're working with this age group, consistency is king. And so to be able to have consistency around educators and team members that children are able to come in and see year to year, and being able to have a retention rate in excess of 90% for the 2018-2019 school year, I think that has been just so helpful just in the opening of the school year for this year. So I would certainly say staff retention, and also a significant reduction of black males who've been suspended in the last school year. I would attribute that to some of the work that I've done with Dennis over the last school year. And we were able to reduce black male suspension somewhere in excess of 300% over the last year.
And what would you say to not necessarily a newer principal, but a principal that may not have that same extra set of eyes as you, or mentorship or partnership with somebody like a Dennis? What would you say to?
Well, I'd say it's very important that principals, first of all, understand and recognize a lot of times this work is done in isolation. It's the nature of being a principal. So if you're not able to move out of isolation, so to speak, and build a team or a partnership with others who have your best interests in mind, and someone who's going to be honest with you and give you honest feedback and honest recommendations, then the job becomes that much more difficult. At the end of the day, you can't do this work in isolation. I know we work we work with many colleagues throughout the district, and we have the support of superintendents and district officers and things. That support also is coupled with the fact that they're your rating officers. So being able to have the support of someone else who is very experienced to come into the school and kind of just be a sounding board and a thought partner once again, someone who is going to give you that tough advice and say, hey, listen, maybe you're not doing this right. Maybe this is a better way to do it. I think is very beneficial. Any leader who thinks that they can lead without the benefit of mentorship is doing so at a deficit.
Working with Dennis is great. Sometimes you need a partner who understands you from the core. And trust is currency. So someone who you could pour out your heart to, who knows what you want to do, and then intuitively understands it, and then the conversations begin. So I trust Dennis because what we do is non-punitive. It's a conversation about instruction, it's a conversation about education, it's a conversation about the population of the kids that we have, and how do we service these students. And every school is different. So therefore, he understands the nature of our school and what would be appropriate for them instructionally, and in many other ways, socially and educationally. The chancellor has the new framework where you have to collaborate and how you have to do things with the community and with teachers, and how you have to act collaboratively, collegially with the various constituencies that you have in the school building and outside of the school building. And those are the things that we talk about. But intuitively, this helps the students because it helps you service them better. And that's really what the bottom line is.
So I met Mr. McKeezy approximately 4 or 5 years ago when he came to evaluate our school based on the DOE protocols, and that forged a relationship which translated into him becoming my mentor, which I really didn't think I needed because at that time I had been a principal approximately 11 years. But when we began to have conversations around the work, and I began to share with him some of the places where I felt we were stagnant and we weren't growing, he became what I would like to call my blind spot indicator. And he began to point out areas where he noticed gaps that I wasn't aware of because I had been so engrossed in the work for an extremely long time. And so that prompted me to understand and realize that I needed someone to push my thinking, because I haven't had that for the 11 years that I was being the leader of a phenomenal institution called the Garrett A. Morgan Elementary School, also known as PS 132. Since that time that I've had him work intimately with me as my coach, our student scores have more than doubled and tripled on the ELA and the mathematics side. I say, does that mean our students became smarter? No, our students were always smart. It was what did we need to do in order to fix that one little piece that caused them to be able to display just how smart, intelligent, and capable they were. And I know for a fact it is because of the mentorship, the coaching that Mr. McKeezy provided for me, to me, that allowed me to see exactly where we needed to make those small changes. We were already a successful school, but he took us from being successful or good to great.